Welcome in to It's Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom. I'm Austin. You can find me on X at Real Bird Lawyer, Bird Law Expert on Blue Sky. If you want to follow my Warhammer 40,000 account and hobby exploits, which is a great time. But if you want the sports, X is probably better for that. Here with me, as always, when we do the podcast, my co-host Taylor at Taylor_Wit on X. What's going on, bud?
I don't think I've ever heard Warhammer 40,000. I have
Yeah,
only
that
in
is
my
the
whole life heard 40K.
full official correct title of the game and universe. It's Warhammer 40,000.
And what
But
does the 40,000 stand for?
it's the
The
year
year?
that it's
The
set
year.
in. Yeah, the
Okay.
41st millennium. Now we're actually into the year 42,000, I think, at this point. But Warhammer 42,000 does not have the same ring to it. So it's and plus anyone who has spent more than 5 minutes in that universe knows that the company that makes the Games Workshop is outrageously litigious about protecting their IP. So
Mm.
the game could be in the year 60,000 and it would still be Warhammer 40,000 because they are not giving up those copyrights until the sun burns out and the earth goes cold. So
Gotcha.
well, I know our listeners probably have a lot of questions for us, like, where have you been? What are you doing? Are you back? The answer to all those questions is a resounding, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we wanted to talk Chiefs, so we're here tonight. We'll see where the evening takes us, I guess.
I would like to take us somewhere a little tangentially to the Chiefs, but it is
Okay.
football related.
All right.
And I just wanted to real quick lay out a good trade that I pulled off in a league that we're in with a fellow friend of the show, Dan Harms, who has been a great contributor for us over the years, and he runs a little fantasy league. And a lot of people might know how about those Chiefs.
Sure. Yep.
And so he messaged me earlier today, and he said, "Hey, what do you want for Tank Dell?" And I looked at his roster, and the idea just hit me like a dream. He has as one of his like fourth or fifth backup quarterbacks Tua Tagovailoa. And so I masterminded Tank for Tua, which is just the most hilarious thing that I've ever done in fantasy football. So we made the trade. I immediately posted the old meme of Dolphins fans holding out signs to say Tank for Tua, and it just tickled me. It made my night.
Now, before our listeners jump in to scream at the podcast app, this is a league where you can start multiple quarterbacks. There's a
Yes.
Superflex situation going on there. I still don't think that's a great trade for you, but it is a very funny trade. And I will also point out this league is free.
Yes,
So,
that's why I did it.
so
And Tank
you're
Dell
allowed
like
to make
doesn't have a
moves
right leg.
for the
Like,
lulz. That's true. That's
you
true.
know,
I
he's
mean, it took
he's
him
a
2 years to be back in practice. So
actually one of the ways that was also funny is when I looked on Keep Trade Cut, one of the third party apps that kind of tells you value, but Tua and Tank Dell were within like 10 points of each other, which
that is
means they're
funny.
basically a
Yeah,
dead even
sure.
trade. So I sent that to Cole and was like, well, not only is it a fair trade, but for the meme, and he cracked
Very
up
funny.
and
It's
so
very
yes,
funny.
so Tank for Tua, it happened.
You'll probably get a little shout out on Cole's
I hope so,
content, and
but won't hold my
I mean
breath.
it's good. It's good content.
Yeah.
Speaking of content, we've missed out on just so much news. I think the last time we podcasted was what in May with Randy, probably. So it's been 2, 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
Uh, there's just things happening all the time at much too great a speed in the football universe, in the human universe. There's an actual NFL football game happening tonight, if you can call the Hall of Fame game actual
Yeah,
NFL
it's
football. So,
preseason football, you know.
I mean, Carson Beck out there slinging it around. So we're just going to take a deep breath. We're just going to slow things down. And all we're going to do for the next however long this podcast takes is just we're just going to check some vibes. We're just going to touch base on some various players, coaches, topics, and we're just going to take the temperature in the room. And we ourselves are going to take the temperature of this podcast as we're doing it, and maybe we'll do it next week. Maybe we will never do it again. We don't know. Well, it just kind of depends on how the vibes are. So let's start with the most important person to either of us that we've never had a conversation with. It's the best way to describe it. I mean, like non-family member, but
The
like you're not
most important
important to
person
me
to us
that
that we've never talked to.
we've never talked to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
obviously, I'm talking about the man, the quarterback, the greatest of all time, Patrick Mahomes.
he's also more important than many people that we have talked to.
Agree.
Just to,
Yes, of course.
he's top
Of course.
five without ever having a conversation. Yeah.
Yes, correct. He's definitely much more important than most people that I've talked to. In fact, the last time we saw him on the football field, his knee was in tatters, not just on the side of his leg, not just on the side of his leg like it was in 2019, but no, like
Shredded.
completely shredded, like spaghetti, like Swiss cheese. Probably more like pulled pork, I guess. Like I don't know the anatomy thing. This is getting gross. But he's practicing fully at camp. He's showing off the wheels a little bit. I don't know whether he's going to be playing in a preseason game. They haven't said yet, but I almost tweeted this and then I just sucked the thought back up, but now it's intrusive. It wants out. Like I can almost guarantee that if he gets into a preseason game, we're gonna get the patented Patrick Mahomes. What the fuck are you doing in the preseason play? Where he's laying
Testing it out.
he's trying to hit somebody, whatever. So that's all good. On the other hand, he's throwing to guys like Jimmy Holiday and Andrew Armstrong, and that's pretty sad. He blooped a guy in the back of the helmet the other day.
Hunter Morsad, backup center. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with our favorite quarterback and one of our favorite people. So where are you at vibes wise with Patrick LaVon Mahomes II?
Oh, I mean, I'm good. I was as distraught as anybody that the knee injury happened. However, there was that sense that he was cooked, like mentally, like just exhausted. He had put the whole team on his back for 7 years, and they had played more games than anybody, and he had all the pressure and all the like. He just needed a break, and if the only way to get him to take a break from playing football was to break his knee, so be it. He's an alien. He bounced back extremely quick. The rumors started with the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce wedding and him dancing on the dance floor. And as soon as people got out of that wedding, sports people, they were like, "Oh, yeah." Mahomes was like, he was cutting it up. Like he looks fine. And, he participated in everything he could possibly participate in. He doesn't even have the knee brace on anymore on the outside of the knee. I think he still wears it maybe under the pants, but like he looks like Patrick. Like he's back. There's been so much just up and down with the Chiefs and a lot of stuff that is concerning about the way that the offense has performed over the last 2 years. But really, the Mahomes performances have almost been in spite of all the adversity that the offense has thrown at him. It's not really ever been like, yeah, he's had some bad plays, but like now we can envision if the offense can kind of get their shit together, like Pat's ready. I think he's ready to go lead this team. I'm fired up.
This bears some mentioning, and I agree with you that the vibes are definitely high and trending upwards. Jesse Newell put out a tweet today. Well, he retweeted a tweet that he had last year of the 10 highest ranked offenses of the last 10 years in yards per drive. And like half of the teams on the list are Chiefs teams, but the 2025 Chiefs are right up there in yards per drive last year. I think they had averaged 39 yards per drive last season. A new app just dropped today. I don't know if you've seen this yet that lets you compare NFL on-off splits by EPA.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, when he was on the field last year, Kansas City was fourth in EPA per play. Without him, they were dead last. So the delta there was a 0.117 on the field positive and a minus 0.358 expected points
That's so
added
bad
per play.
That's
so like
bad.
you lose a third of a point every time you snap the ball when he wasn't on the field, which is crazy.
Awful.
So that was like that's like a 450. I mean, that's like a half point delta per play. And that was by far the biggest delta of any quarterback in the NFL. If you haven't seen this app yet, you should check it out because there's some really interesting ones in there. Josh Allen, very low in the splits. But anyway, all this to say that like, I saw Jesse retweet his stat and I kind of replied to that with like, yeah, I mean, it was a bad season and it ended really badly, extraordinarily badly, like both with the Chiefs getting eliminated from the playoffs and Patrick blowing out his knee in the same game. But like for most of the year, it was just weird. It
Hmm.
wasn't. It was weird bad, but it was also weird good. And the team was like, it wasn't even that they were bad all the time. It was just strange. It was uneven. It was just weird.
Do you
And
remember
so
when the Chiefs were 5-3 and they were the Vegas odds-on favorite to
yeah.
win the Super Bowl
And then the
after week
the
eight?
next game they blew out the Raiders with Rashee Rice, or I guess that was
I think that was to go to
that was
five and
right
three.
after that game because he
That
came back
was
in week
yes,
7.
right.
Um, yeah, I mean, I remember it. I remember it well. And then the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. Gosh, there was a lot going on last year. And just to circle back to put a bow on the Pat vibe check, like it does feel like things have slowed down a little bit. Now maybe that's because we're not podcasting, we're not talking about the news every week.
Sure,
We're just
sure.
taking a little chill pill. We're slowing things down. But you know what? That's all part of it. Let's do another one here, and we got to get this one out of the way because it's dark. It's bad. We've had a week now to simmer on this, but Eric Bieniemy's son shot his wife. His wife is out of the ICU. That's great. She's alive. That's great. His son is in jail. That's obviously complicated, but the perpetrator of the crime has been or will be brought to justice. There's so much going on here, and long-time listeners of the show will know that I still work in criminal justice, and I used to be for about a decade a prosecutor. So, whenever something like this happens, and alarmingly, things like this happen, not quite this bad usually, but like
Mhm.
things like this happen to our team a lot, Taylor.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, I have to opine on these situations quite a bit. I'm a little bit surprised that we have not received a whole lot more information about this in the week since it's happened. And it doesn't really matter from a football perspective. Like, I, it it's a terrible situation. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Bieniemy didn't coach at all this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he was back next week. You just
yeah.
it's really hard to say without knowing more. And even if we did know more, it would be really hard to predict what's going on in his head. Like since it's a family member, like was this totally unexpected? Like, if I shot my dad, I think people would be very surprised. If I shot my mom,
I
people would
certainly
be
would.
would be shocked. Like no one would see that coming, but you just never know. The one little tidbit of information that we have gotten is that there was a police record that someone, presumably his son, had called the day before and said that his parents were withholding weapons from him. So that seems like at the root of it. I think it's pretty easy to guess that this is probably mental health related in some way. But there's just a lot we don't know, and man, I gotta say, like, uh, we we have been talking about coming back and doing podcasts and everything for a couple of weeks. Training
Mhm.
camp's been going on, and when this happened, I kind of was just like, I just don't
I'm
think I ever
good.
want to podcast again. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like the last season, coming off the loss in the Super Bowl, the failure to get the three-peat, the vibes were low, but the hope was high. And then that was dashed. It ended with injury. It ended in a very cruel way, and it just was a very exhausting season. And then, to get a little bit of that hope back, and then to have something like this happen, it's grim. It's dark.
They're an exhausting franchise, and I don't necessarily mean that it's always bad because when they're good, it's exhausting. Like they
It's so
just
true.
like they just take a lot out of us as fans, and sometimes that emotion is spent cheering and celebrating and coming on here and going, I can't believe they just pulled that off, or I can't, I mean, but like there has not been a dull moment as a Chiefs fan in a long time. And this is just another sad, crazy example that I mean, if you were to hear before the season or when before the offseason started that one team was going to have a assistant coach's family members shoot each other, like I would have put as much money as I could have gotten my hands on it being the Chiefs. Like it's
Yeah,
just
of
that's
course.
such
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Chiefs thing to have happened. Prayers up for Mia Bieniemy, obviously. You know, really, really hope that that's a speedy and full recovery, and that whatever. I mean, I hope Elijah gets the help he needs, whether that's if jail time does help him or whatever. But obviously, he was a disturbed kid, and I say kid, 27,
Yeah.
not quite a kid, but not quite a full ass grown man either. But it sucks, and I hope that Eric Bieniemy can coach with a clear mind. If he can't, then just go be with your family. Football's okay. The Chiefs certainly um, will have a plan in place if Eric Bieniemy is not the offensive coordinator. And to be completely honest, they already did. I mean, they had years of Eric Bieniemy not being the
Right.
offensive coordinator, and I don't think the absence of Matt Nagy is going to be so stark that they won't be able to figure this out either. So yeah, it was shitty. Let's get on to the football news of camp.
I really should have structured these a little bit differently because this one's also kind of a little bit of a
Yes.
downer, but let's just get it out of the way and then we can aim for clearer skies. Rasheed Rice spent the summer in jail, also rehabbing his knee, which which needed rehabbing after the catastrophic knee injury 2 years ago, which again, like, even before the blowout in the Super Bowl, that was pretty dark. Patrick
Pretty
Mahomes
rough.
throwing a pick and then blowing out Rasheed Rice's knee, the best receiver on the team, and then him obviously getting in that horrible car crash, being suspended for 6 weeks, coming back, and then needing a cleanup procedure on the knee, which he had to have done right before going into jail for violating his probation. Um, Tough start. And then our friend Ron Kopp, if you don't follow him on Twitter, please go follow Ron.
Yeah.
He's been posting amazing training camp videos. He posted a video of Rasheed running a post against Air that looked so ugly. I'm not even sure how bad it really was. It's hard to tell, but it looked so bad that tweet got 2.8 million views.
Jeez.
And Ron's got, he's got, I don't know, several thousand followers, but it's not like, 2.8 million views is that tweet blew up. Um, I mentioned this on off EPA split app earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The EPA on off splits showed the Chiefs offense is worse with Rasheed Rice on the field in 2025 than off. And I'm just going to acknowledge, because I know somebody's thinking it and saying it as they're listening to this podcast. I know that EPA per play for position players is telling different stories that have nothing to do with the quality of player. For instance, Puka Nacua is like the Rams offense is the same with Puka on and off the field. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I get that. That doesn't mean that Puka Nacua is not good.
Right.
And Rasheed Rice, I mean, I think the eye test would tell you, obviously the Chiefs offense was better with Rasheed Rice on the field. But I gotta say, after doling all that out there, is this rock bottom for Rasheed Rice vibes? Can
Yeah.
we get any lower?
Oh, yes. Both. Okay. Okay.
Those are two different questions, I guess.
This is rock bottom so far.
Yes,
This,
yes.
uh, you know, um, I, I mean, I personally I'm over Rasheed Rice. I'm looking forward to him no longer being the problem of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I mean, I hope the kid gets his life figured out and stuff. But like, he's been as exhausting as anybody over the last 3 years or so. And I, I don't think that spending time in jail in the off season is the best way to prepare for the upcoming football season. I think that's probably a suboptimal plan for his off season workouts and training regimen and all that stuff. So yeah, am I surprised that he didn't look particularly sharp? No, I'm not. Do I think that he could get to the point where he is the best receiver on the Chiefs if he's not currently? Yeah, I do. But I mean, I would be devastated if I owned any Rasheed Rice jerseys or memorabilia or anything like that because I don't see his stay with this franchise being longer than the first contract. And I'm over him, man. It's too immature.
Yeah. And I mean the on-field performance remains to be seen. Like obviously he could go out, you know, catch 10 touchdowns and go for 1800 yards or something this year, and that would solve a lot from the vibe standpoint. I don't know that it would mean that he has a future with the Chiefs or not, but it certainly would help. And it doesn't help that everything we've seen from him on the practice field so far has not looked great. Okay, we got to pivot to something. We
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
gotta do a little vibe boost. And actually, I'm gonna sort of taper us up. We can't go straight from rock bottom to the peak of the mountaintop. So I'm gonna bundle two together. We're gonna do the first round rookies. So just Peter Woods, that's too much. We're going from the bottom of the ocean to the top of Everest. Um, so let's lump the first round rookies together. We've got Peter Woods, the Chiefs' second first round pick at the end of the first round. He's Aaron Donald, apparently. And then you've got Mansour Delane, who the Chiefs traded up to take 6 overall, and he is hurt. He's not on the field. He's not practicing at all.
Yeah. Woods has looked good. He has been winning his one-on-one drills. He's been getting high praise from both defensive and offensive players. He's the real deal. He's explosive and he's 99, so he really is literally Aaron Donald. I mean,
It's
it's
crazy.
it's very, very good sign that the Chiefs, I'd say finally drafted a guy that actually is coming into camp and seems like he's going to be a good football player. That's it's been a while since that's happened.
Yeah,
And
right.
his vibes are great, like you said. Mansour Delane will just real quick, Steve Spagnuolo, he was here to straighten things out when people had questions about it. He said, "We just haven't had the work. I mean, you go through OTAs and it's just helmets, and he hasn't had a chance to really. The thing he's missing right now is the continuity with a bunch of guys who are new to him. Everybody's new, so we're going to have to fight through that. Before you know it, we're going to be lining up against Denver. Hopefully, we get him back quicker than we thought." And Carrington Harrison had Nate Taylor on the drive, and he said, "If the Chiefs had a game coming up this week, this was earlier this week, would Mansour Delane be playing?" To which Nate responded, "Nope, not at all. And I'm not even sure that answer changes in a month from now." So it's kind of a mystery ailment, whether it's shoulder related, don't know rotator cuff, don't know kind of where the issues lie exactly. He participated in the non-padded portion of OTAs and minicamp, but when it came time to hitting's not really his thing. So the Chiefs did trade up to sixth overall to select him. There were a plethora of very enticing rookies on the board available.
Jordan Tyson
Jordan Tyson being among them, but I mean,
going
even
out.
guys, Ruben Bain and people that, at, fell in the draft or so, but there were a lot of options. And the quote about Steve Spagnuolo's affinity for Mansour Delane was that someone said, I forget if it was another coach, but someone said, "I'm pretty sure Steve would have taken him over every player on the board in the draft." And like, maybe he's going to be a Hall of Fame cornerback. Maybe he's going to be really, really good. But I don't like the vibes coming out that you can't
No.
even practice right
Yeah.
away, especially when Trent McDuffie's breaking up passes for the Rams. And I mean, there's just the vibes here are they're not great.
Yeah, it's complicated because I mean that quote is just it's tough. I mean, this team is reluctant historically to give rookies a huge role. I mean, Noel Williams had a hard time getting on the field in the second half of last season when he was the number one rated cornerback in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. I know the Chiefs obviously grade players differently, as all teams do, but like he was playing very well and was having a hard time seeing the field. And that quote from Steve is just concerning
Yeah.
because it kind of sounds like he's not going to get onto the like even when he's available it sounds like he's going to have a hard time getting onto the field, which is not what you want from the sixth overall pick in the draft. Now
No.
let's again end on a positive note. Peter Woods is Aaron Donald. It's great.
Yeah,
That's going to be
he's a
amazing.
dog.
Hall of Famer. I
Plus
mean,
him and Chris Jones on the same interior D line.
yeah,
It's not quite Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, which looks like the Rams are probably going to have a taste of this year, but it's interesting and fun. And if he can rush the passer, that is so sorely needed on this team. You and I in one of our off the air conversations about the Chiefs, we're just lamenting that. I mean, they don't have a pass rush. Like they're
yeah,
they're going to use George Karlaftis and R. Mason Thomas. That's their edge rushing answer.
yep, yep.
And so if Peter Woods and Chris Jones in the middle are just going to say, guess what, guys? I know all these teams pay all their tackles all this money because they expect everyone to come from the outside, but we're
Yeah, they're
just
going
going
to be
to,
looking for edge rushers.
right. They're not going to be looking right up the middle. And, maybe that works.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Kyrus Tonga and you've got Omar Norman Lott working his way back too. I mean, like the interior of the defensive line, like has the potential to be like bonkers
Outstanding.
elite.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it will reach that ceiling or not, but it definitely has the potential to be that. So it'll be fun if I mean if that hits, like, Aaron Donald and Chris Jones on the same defensive line would be bonkers. This is mostly positive, I think. We'll see where you land on it. But man, the single biggest vibe roller coaster, ups and downs, Cyrus Allen. Chiefs 5th round pick at wide receiver. He entered camp with a surprising amount of hype for a 5th round wide receiver. I mean, this team has selected 4th, 5th, 6th round receivers for years, and they have universally been terrible with the exception of Tyreek Hill,
Who's
who
the Clemson kid? Uh,
Justin
no,
Ross.
no, 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 no. Sorry. Other
Oh,
Clemson kid, fifth
the
round
Jeff Gold.
draft pick.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh
Um,
my God.
I know.
Um,
Cornell Powell.
yeah, Cornell Powell, Demarcus Robinson, who ended up having a pretty good career after he left the Chiefs. I mean, like there just have been so many guys, with the exception of Tyreek Hill, who obviously was taken
Fifth round.
that late for reasons that had nothing to do with his ability to play football.
Mhm.
But how often should these guys work out? For the Chiefs, the answer is essentially never.
Yeah.
And Cyrus Allen comes in with a lot of hype for a day 3 pick, but you got to think that's because the Chiefs wide receiver room is just so stinky, especially with Rashee Rice in jail, when they're out doing rookie minicamp and OTAs. Presumably he's a 5th round pick for a reason, right? Like if this guy's so good, why
Yeah.
wasn't he picked on day 1 or day 2 at least? And then he comes into camp, he shows out in padless practices. He makes this insane one-handed catch over the middle that went viral on X. He's establishing himself as Pat's early favorite target. Yeah, but of course, then, like who else is there to throw to, right? Like this guy can run a route and he can catch the ball. Of course, that's going to be Pat's favorite target because no one else on the team that's healthy right now can do either of those things. Then he gets hurt. And I mean, it literally looks like he's out for the year. I mean, just the body language, his vibes were completely in the gutter. Now he was in the front of the cart, but like, man, he was crying. He was hiding his face. Turns out he just had like a bad shin bruise, basically. He got hurt, by the way, on a collision on special teams with former Bill Kaiir Elam. And of course, then that ignited the whole kerfuffle of whether, a 5th round rookie wide receiver should be practicing, a gunner on special teams in the first week of camp. And all this comes back to he's actually fine. We haven't seen him with the pads on because he's got this little boo-boo, little bruise. He's dinged up. And I guess just to wrap up the ups and downs, somebody in the Chiefs building told Albert Breer that he reminds of Stephon Diggs, who was also a 5th round pick and just signed with the Commanders, but obviously has had a borderline, probably a Hall of Fame career, I'd say.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
4-time Pro Bowler.
Borderline.
I mean, he's got to have to string some more years together. But you're right. The comp to Stephon Diggs is a massive win if it's a 5th round draft pick, Cyrus Allen, who is undersized. I mean, certainly not. This isn't a 6'4" guy out there. He's 5'11", I think, if I remember right. And didn't really blow anybody away in any testing, in any 40 times or any of that stuff. I mean, Sure, I guess maybe he could be Jerry Rice and just doesn't have the testing, but when he gets out on the football field, he's just a savant. But the comp to Diggs is great, who, as you said, signed a 1 year, $12 million deal with the Commanders yesterday. It was reported that the Chiefs talked to Diggs, but who knows how far things went
Yeah,
there. They
right.
may have, for all we know, just emailed Diggs Arrowhead confetti meme with him sitting there and said good luck or whatever. Who knows what the talking actually. Oh, and speaking of Arrowhead, Arrowhead dropped
Oh
Yeehaw.
yeah, yeehaw.
They
It's
are
just
back to
Arrowhead.
just Arrowhead Stadium. I think GEHA realized that no one on planet Earth called it GEHA Field at Arrowhead
Yeah, they weren't
Stadium.
weren't getting their money's worth.
I mean, yeah, if you're paying for those naming rights and no one's using it, then you might as well just bail on the whole idea. But yeah, Cyrus Allen, exciting to be excited about someone. Um, there has been camp hype. You brought up, of course, Camp Darling Justin Ross earlier, and it's one of those things that I, in my older age now, try not to buy into anything that happens at camp, good or bad. I try not
Sure.
to. You hear some stories or whatever, but like guys being good on air or against other guys that they're practicing against when probably both sides know all the calls and probably, I mean, there's just it's a different situation than playing an NFL game. However, I will be the first one on the Cyrus Allen bandwagon if he goes out there in an NFL game for the very first time and does somebody and looks good. Then it's like, okay, he's going to be it.
I have two asides before we go to our final vibe check.
Okay.
First on our Stephon Diggs Hall of Famer debate, which we didn't plan to have. I just said that out loud. That was my gut reaction.
Do you feel that
Borderline
it's
arguable Hall of Famer, and then
okay?
you immediately pushed back.
Yeah.
So he is 38th all time in receiving yards.
Okay.
He's 115 yards behind Chad Johnson or Calvin Johnson, which obviously,
Well,
I
he
mean, Calvin
retired. I mean,
Johnson.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know Calvin. I know Calvin. Calvin did it in like 8 years.
Yeah. How many
So
rushing yards is Isaiah Pacheco behind Barry
I
Sanders?
get it. I get it. He is 200 yards, or actually about 130 yards ahead of Tyreek. Stephon Diggs is in
Interesting.
his career, and
Who's older?
Stephon Diggs did come in a year earlier,
A
and Tyreek
year.
obviously has been hurt. But point being, yeah, Chad Ochocinco, right around Stephon and Tyreek Hill and Deshaun Jackson. These are guys that are like right below him that I would also sort of consider to be. It's funny because the four guys actually right above him in the career rankings are Calvin Johnson, Hall of Fame, Don Maynard, Hall of Fame, Antonio Gates, Hall of Fame, albeit at tight end, and then
Right.
Michael Irvin, tight end, or Hall of Fame, and then Keenan Allen, who I think probably will also be in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know. It's
You
interesting.
you have to watch out about total yards
Yeah,
because the
sure.
NFL has obviously moved
It's counting stats, and you're
right.
looking at peak, and
You'll
he
have a
one
lot of
year leads
guys in
the league,
today's
and
NFL that are going to look pretty good there.
yeah, that's fair.
Obviously, he spent a lot of time with Josh Allen, but then again, if you're a wide receiver, you spend a lot of good time with the quarterback, and both of you are going to look good
Have you
because of it.
seen Josh Allen's RAS splits? I'm just saying, maybe Stephon,
Maybe he was holding
Diggs
him
made
back.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe we should be giving Stephon Diggs credit for Josh Allen.
Well, and
Um,
on that note, you remember what happened with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen when
yeah,
Josh Allen didn't have Stephon Diggs yet. He
yeah,
wasn't good.
he
And then
wasn't
he
good.
got
That's what I'm
Diggs
saying.
and was good. And
Exactly.
then
And
he
then
lost
you
Diggs
know
and,
he's
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 fine.
fine,
He's
but
fine.
his on-off splits aren't very good. The other thing that I just wanted to add into the conversation before we go to our last vibe check is Cyrus Allen's relative athletic score.
Yes, please.
I also remembered him not testing that well, and you were
Was I
right
wrong?
about that. Your
Oh,
memory about that is I'd say it's like conditionally correct. Like it's partly correct.
did he
So his
not test?
overall relative athletic score was actually an 8.69, so an 86th
Yeah, pretty good.
percentile,
Yeah, really
which is
good.
pretty good.
Yeah,
His composite size grade is bad. So 5'11, that's 38th percentile. Is weight 183 pounds. That's 28th percentile. So
right. No.
not great there. And his testing numbers are really interesting. So
Oh
his
yeah.
composite explosion grade is great. His composite speed grade is great. And his composite agility grade is great. But in all three of those categories, they have red, which is bad, yellow, which is okay, and green, which is good. All of those categories, all three of those categories, he has at least one yellow score. So
Mm.
like his 40-yard dash is 78th percentile. His 10-yard split is 79th percentile, but his 20-yard split is 88th percentile. So,
Ooh.
so like
Okay.
just in the 20-yard range is kind of interesting. His broad jump is 98th percentile, but his vertical is only 73rd percentile.
Hmm.
Just like
Yeah.
his shuttle 4.17 in the shuttle, that's 82nd percentile, and his three cone is 78th percentile. So
Hmm.
anyway, he has an interesting athletic profile, we'll put it that way, but
He
he's
does.
he's a smaller guy. You know what though? I mean, as long as we're closing out the Cyrus Allen thing, let's just go for the gold. Stephon Diggs, 5th round pick. Antonio Brown, also 5'11",
That's right. Yeah.
undersized, route technician.
And I mean, if
Hopefully
anyone's
not
going
with
to have the
CTE.
next Antonio Brown, it's obviously going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, but we'll probably just skip to late phase Antonio
He'll
Brown here.
immediately just go
But just
completely
go
nuts.
straight
Yeah.
to the guy freezing off his feet. And
Yeah.
anyway, all right, let's do our last vibe check here.
Right tackle. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, Khalil Benson, undrafted free agent from national champion Indiana Hoosiers, has gotten first team reps every practice for, I've lost track of the number, but it's a while now. It's 8 or 9, I think, practices in a row. And I don't know if that says more about him or the guy whose job he's taking, Jalen Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Benson's 6'6" and 319 pounds compared to Jalen Moore's 6'4", 311. But, it's hard to imagine that a UDFA walking into camp and becoming the best option at right tackle is good news, either for the offensive line or for Jalen Moore. Um, I, I hope that maybe Khalil Benson's a late bloomer and maybe the Chiefs found a diamond in the rough. That would be great. It's not to say that undrafted free agents can't turn into good NFL players, but it worries me. It's like not a lot of people. Everyone's excited for Khalil Benson, which is great, but just the idea that he could come in and be outperforming Jalen Moore to the point where the Chiefs immediately, within a couple
Mm-hmm.
practices, were like, "Oh, we got it. This is our guy." I mean, it's just I'm worried. The battle for right tackle has also meant that Esapole is nowhere near starting right tackle for whatever that's worth. I know he's been a left tackle in his career, but there were some offseason rumblings that he might have a shot at the right side after he was pretty impressive late last season with some tough circumstances. But certainly it seemed like the Chiefs liked what they had in Esapole, and there were some thoughts that maybe if Jalen Moore wasn't up for the job, that would be Pole's job. But no, it looks like he is going to be the Josh Simmons backup at left tackle right now and the right tackle job. Now, there's some I've seen a couple opinions of people thinking that they just really wanted to put Khalil Benson through the tests, and by putting him in the
Mm-hmm.
first string, that gives him better pass rushes to go against. And they still
Sure.
feel that Jalen Moore, with his bigger contract and 18 career starts, that he's still going to be the guy at right tackle. But I just don't know if that's the way that I get it from the outside looking at it and saying, well, they're probably just testing him. But I just feel like with Andy and with the way that they, do the reps and the way that they want cohesion on the line, if you've got if Jalen Moore wants to start every week at right tackle, he probably needs those reps. He probably needs those
Yeah.
first team reps in practice more than just figuring out if Khalil Benson's a good right tackle in the NFL. You can do that in practice throughout the year and not have to do it in training camp. I don't really I think it's a little bit of copium to just think that they just are playing around and just want to see what, like, you also have preseason games to do that. So put Khalil
Yeah.
Benson out there in preseason games and see what he's got. But I don't know, for the camp reps, I want that to be the starting line out there for every camp rep. And maybe that's Benson, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah, and obviously he wasn't with the team last year. Jalen Moore at least has played with these guys before.
Yeah.
But you want the continuity. So, like the earlier you can make that decision, the better from a continuity standpoint, and just getting your best five out there and getting reps with the complete starting offensive line is important, even this early. This is an interesting one. I'm glad we're closing out with this one because this really this sort of encapsulates the 2026 Chiefs to me. It's like, am I hyped about this guy because he's actually good, or am I hyped about him because the rest of the options are so bad
Mhm.
that that I have to be hyped about the UDFA, tackle that's maybe going to be starting on opening night, and the fifth round rookie wide receiver who
Yeah.
was out there getting gunner reps on special teams, on the fourth day of training camp because he's a fifth round rookie wide receiver, like
Yeah,
it,
who else is going to gun right
yeah,
now? I mean,
exactly.
that's his job.
Is it because these players are true diamonds in the rough? Brett Veach specials. We know he does his best work on day three, and UDFA. That's really like where he's had the most success in the draft, most
Mhm.
consistent success relative to position. Or is it just the fact that this roster, which we've known for a couple of years and we've been talking about for a couple of years, has holes? We know it has holes. We know there are problems with this team, the way it's constructed. Is it just the fact that they have no better options, or are these guys actually good? Who can say? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out next time on It's Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom.